So Sue, welcome. And if you could tell me, just to start with, what your role in family daycare is.
I'm a manager of a family daycare service situated out at Sunnybank. I like working in family daycare because I'm very passionate about the relationships, I guess, that family daycare educators can have with children, that there's that one-on-one, that the children have that consistent relationship. Also that children can stay with an educator, from birth to school, and family gets to develop that strong relationship as well. I think that relationships are really the key to, that early childhood development.
Do you get a role in fostering that as a manager, those relationships?
A lot of what I do is around, I guess, supporting the coordinators to, in their training, their professional development, so that they know they're confident in what they're doing when they're going out there and supporting educators. I do go out and visit educators as well, and I do in-service training within the office too. I also work on a lot of resources to support educators. Lots of information sheets, and I'm always sourcing things from the early years learning framework and sort of all sorts of resources that can support them. But primarily, I suppose my responsibility is to support the coordinators to be confident in what they're doing. I see my role in the legislative requirements to ensure that I'm current with what those legislative requirements are, because we have lots of places we have to resource, which is the regulations. We have the law that we need to look at. We also need to make sure that we're looking at anything pertaining to child protection. And then there's childcare management system, which is the government's families who are entitled to childcare benefit. We need to make sure that we're sort of meeting the requirements there as well.
Could you talk to me a little bit more about how you've helped make the legislative requirements clear for the services where English isn't a first language?
Sure. More from my educators that have English as a second language, not other services. But so I guess we've unpacked what the requirements are in the early years learning framework and in the regulations. We look at what do all those points, those elements that are required mean, and then we sort of, I guess, I have some staff that are also very supportive, who have English as a second language, can help me to put a lot of things in a context and in language that's a little bit easier to understand. So we draw out a lot of the complex words, I suppose, and terminologies and concepts that people from other cultures may not have experienced before. So we help them to understand what their practice needs to look like within what the requirements are in Australia. So,
okay. So it sounds to me from speaking with you that a family daycare educator is not alone. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, in our service, they're visited every month, or approximately nearly every month by a coordinator for a couple of hours. There's someone in our office at all times to talk to. That if there's any issues or concerns, or you just want to talk through something, there's always someone to talk to, whether it be from administration perspective, from coordinator perspective, or myself as well. And we also have an on-call service, so even if an educator is doing outside the normal business hours, there's someone there to respond to that if required. Educators know that they can pick up the phone to someone anytime they need to. Yeah.
Is supporting quality care the main focus of your role? Quality education and care? And very much relationships. I am a strong believer that if an educator has a close, respectful relationship with families and children, that other stuff will just follow. That if you really love what you're doing and you're really passionate about the people that you're working with, then you want to do a good job. Yep.
Yeah.
So when you go out to a potential educator's home to assess the suitability of the environment, what sort of things are you looking for?
So when I first arrive, I guess one of the things I'm very respectful that this is this person's home foremost. So I really want to have a conversation around how can you operate a business here, but also still feel like it's your home as well. So when I go to an educator's, a prospective educator, I ask them what sort of space what part of their home they're wanting to use. I'm very if they want to use a certain small space, I'm very clear with educators that the space needs to be, the children need to feel like they're part of a home environment. Whilst you can use certain designated spaces, I want to ensure that those spaces still represent a home-like environment for children, so that the children don't feel like they're in a separate space, that they're actually part of that home.
So if you were going to summarise what a safe environment is that fosters learning and inclusiveness, if you're going to summarise it in a couple of lines, how would you describe it?
Well, a safe environment is certainly one that allows easy supervision, but also inclusivity into that home-like environment, and that has adequate indoor and outdoor space for all children of different abilities and interests, personalities, I guess.
There's a bit to it.
Yeah, there is, but it's well worth it. The feedback from educators is, after they've been through the process and they've taken that sigh of relief, is to say that they're really glad that they made the decision to do it. So.